back to the Hahnstead YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Trevor, and in this video, I'm going to show you how I built this chicken coop for less than $500.
Alright, so here's our pile of materials. We got some 2x3s, a couple 2x4s. I had a couple 2x4s laying around. We got one 4x4 treated for the legs, 3 sheets of T111 plywood, 1/2 inch, 2 sheets of OSB, 1/2 inch for the roof, and then 1 sheet of treated plywood for the floor, 1/2 inch. And then over here for the floor system, I have some treated 2x4s. So I'm going to make the whole floor treated because chickens are obviously going to be pooping in there and whatever else not, so I think that'll make it last a little bit longer, and this is still fairly cheap. Alright, so right here is where I'm going to put the chickens, or at least the coop, and then kind of this whole area right here where it's cleared out is going to be like a fenced in run. We do want to let them be able to run around in the yard just like free range, but we also wanted a fenced in area for them, so just in case like me and Lisa go somewhere on like vacation or like go fishing or whatever, just gonna be gone, then they can still like go outside during the day and have a fenced in area where they're protected when we're not here to protect them or the dogs. So as you can see, obviously, well, it's probably hard to tell on the camera, but the ground is at an angle here because we live on a mountain. So all the legs are going to have to be different lengths. I didn't want to have to like level something out. So I'll just build the legs different lengths so that the chicken coop sits level. But yeah, this is the spot we're going to do it. So let's go get started on building the floor system. Alright, so we're going to start by getting the boards cut for the floor system. The floor is going to be, the whole chicken coop is going to just be 4x8. But I can't make it an actual 4x8 because when you go to put siding on it, a sheet of plywood for siding is also 4x8. So if you want the edges to overlap on the plywood, you don't want it to be like an open edge, you want them to overlap, then you have to make one side shorter, one like whatever the thickness of your plywood is. My plywood's 1/2 inch, so I have to make my chicken coop 1 inch shorter than 8 feet so that the plywood laps over the sides. So 2 of these boards I'm going to cut down to 95 inches, and then the rest of these are going to get cut up for the actual like floor joists. Alright, so now we're going to cut the floor joists. To make these 48 inches, or the whole chicken coop 48 inches wide, we're going to have to cut these down to 45 inches. Alright, so this is what my floor system is going to look like. I marked out my layout on here, which I'm just doing about 2 foot on center floor joists. So this is treated wood, so I have the nail gun loaded up with galvanized nails so they don't rot, and I'm just going to nail this together, and then later on, once we get the legs on and we have it up there, before we put the plywood on for the floor, I'm going to add some joist hangers to the floor joists just to help give it a little extra strength. Alright, so here's our floor system. Now what we'll do is we'll take it over to the spot where we're going to put it, and I'm going to get some boards mocked up with some clamps, like temporary legs, and then I can get this set up over there exactly how I want it to sit, and then I can take measurements for actual legs, and then I can cut the legs, put them on, and then we can put the plywood on. Alright, so this is where I want the chicken coop to sit. As you can see, it's fairly unlevel here. You have to lift the level up about that much for it to be level. So I know that I want it higher than that because I want a little bit of a set of legs on the other side to get it up off the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 4 boards and use them as temporary legs. I'm going to put them on here just like this. And I got some clamps here, and I'll pick this up and I'll clamp this to the legs. And then once I have all 4 legs on and clamped on, I can take the level and play around with my height and get it to where I like it, and then I can take a measurement on how high up the floor is sitting on the leg, take that number and go cut my actual leg. There, now I can go around to each corner, set the level this way, set the level this way, and get it perfectly set how I want it, and then we can take some measurements. Alright, I've monkeyed around with this thing for a while. I got it looking pretty good. Sit nice and flat, nice and level. This is what it's going to look like once we have the actual legs cut and put on, and I'm liking it. I think it's a good height on that side for cleaning out the coop, and it's not too high off the ground where I'm going to have to worry about like blocking this area off for the chickens to not be able to just like walk underneath the coop and leave. I have all my measurements written down on this piece of wood, so I'm going to go cut some legs quick out of that 4x4, and then I'll be back and we'll screw them on. Alright, so I got my 4 legs cut now, and I have them set out for each corner for the correct length. So I'm just going to go around one by one, take the clamp off of the temporary leg, put the permanent leg in, clamp it on, put some screws in it, and then go to the next leg. All 4 legs is on. We'll check it with the level again. I'm sure it moved a little bit, but it's a chicken coop. It doesn't need to be perfect. So I'll check it with the level, and as long as it's close, it's good enough. I mean, they're chickens. They don't really care that much. The reason I did it like this is because just in case I ever want to move this chicken coop somewhere else in my yard, all I really have to do, I can keep the rest of the coop. I can just change the legs out, you know. So I don't know if I'll ever move it. I might, but this kind of gives me the option to do that. So I think it's going to work out good. The next step is probably joist hangers for these middle floor joists, just because the only thing, you know, that's holding them up right now is just nails. So I'm going to put them on there, and then we can get the floor on. Okay, I'm going to get all my joist hangers put on now. I'm just using 1.5" joist hanger nails. These are just Samson, I'm pretty sure Simpson, strong tie, 8D, 1.5" galvanized joist hanger nails. Alright, so I threw this piece of plywood on there last night just because I wanted to see what it was going to look like, and I wanted to walk on it, see if it was good and sturdy. Everything checked out there, so I'm going to get this screwed down now, and then we can start building some walls. I got like 1 inch over here I got to cut off, so but I'll screw it all down first. I'll just cut it off with the skill saw after it's screwed down. Alright, I got all my boards cut, so now we can clean this off, start setting them up to make them look like walls, and we'll nail them together. Now I think I'm going to screw the walls down, because just the thought, if this floor ever were to rot out, I mean ideally I could go inside the coop, unscrew the walls from the floor, and I could pick the whole top of the coop off, unscrew this floor, screw a new floor on, put the coop back on, done. Now we got our front and back wall. Alright, so here's what the finished product is going to look like after you get your rafter cut. It'll sit on top of your wall like that. Now I gotta get these. I'll lay this one on top of these ones. Trace out the cuts with a pencil. And then I'll cut all these ones out and we'll put them on. Make sure you're pushed all the way towards me. Here. I got the sheet. Go grab the hammer over there. Give it a little whack on the end. Okay, top two. Can't let down. Alright, we're going to start on the nesting boxes now. We don't exactly have a plan on how we're going to build them. We're just going to kind of start sticking wood on here and seeing what we got, but we'll tell you what we get figured out when we get to the end. As for now, the first step, we're going to take these boards and we're going to nail them on here like this so that we can build a little floor out. And these will basically be the little boxes for the chickens to come in from the coop to lay their eggs.
Or are you doing square?
Alright, so I got these small pieces. They're about 7 1/4 long. They just have like a slight, like 1/4 inch angle on them. I'm going to put these on here like this, and I'll clamp it down and put a screw in to hold it on, and then we'll run a board from up here across up to here, and we'll nail that to here. And once we have that board on there, we can just set a piece of plywood on top of here and put some hinges on it, and then we can open this up from the outside to come in here to get the eggs. So I'm going to get these pieces screwed on, and then we'll cut some more pieces. I'll run across here, and then that will make our little nesting box areas for the chickens. Listen, sir, either you got to put the screws in or you got to get out of my way. Here. Hey, you gonna run this? Oh no? Huh. Weird. I even put them all on the right way. Score.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, we got the nesting boxes framed out. We're going to throw the roof on now, and then we'll have to cut a bunch of smaller pieces of the T111 to close this whole entire area off. And then we'll start working on the door over there, but we'll get the roof on for now. Alright, so as you can see here, I added in some boards down here so that all this door was kind of like partially connected to the framing, so that if I do want to pull the top off of this thing and replace the floor, the door and everything will come with it. So I put these in here, I put these uprights in. These are mainly for extra support for screwing in hardware for the door, for hinges and whatever. Nice piece of wood, put some screws in. We got the doors built. Here will get covered in plywood yet, but these will go in here, get the hinges, the latches, and then right now we got the piece of plywood cut that's going to go on this end. So that's what we're going to do right now, is put on this end piece of plywood. You're flush where you're at.
I'm flush on bottom, yeah.
Well, I'd like you to come down a little bit even. Yeah, like right there.
Okay.
Alright, now we gotta figure out what we're gonna do for a floor. I'm gonna start working on this door. We should have marked this. You can see top and bottom. Oh, it doesn't fit. Hi, bud. Oh, hello. How are you doing? Can you see that I'm trying to work here? Whoa! A door! That works so good. This thing is perfect. I love that it opens all the way too.
Yeah.
Very nice. Alright, so me and Lisa had some subfloor left over from building our house. That's what we're going to use for the floor in these nesting boxes, just to use up some of the scraps we got laying around. So you could use whatever you wanted. I would prefer to use a piece of treated plywood just like I did with the floor, but I guess I didn't think about that when I was buying wood at the store. So this is what I have laying around, so what we're going to use.
Thank you. Holy cow. Do you need a hammer?
Yeah, and then smack it in. Yep.
Nice.
I think it's looking nice. Alright, so we got the rest of our pieces cut for the nesting boxes, and we're going to nail these on. We got 2 pieces up here, and we cut these like 2-inch strips. Those are going to go up here like this.
Yeah,
We're gonna
these
nail them
supports
on.
on here too.
Yeah, we did add some supports.
Yeah.
But yeah, this will go up on here like this, and then we'll nail that on, and then this will be the actual like hatch door. So this is for screwing the hinges too, so they're at the same height. And then this will open like so. So we're going to get these nailed on, and then we also got the side pieces cut that are going to close off the side of here. So we'll get them nailed on too. I think we have come my way just a little bit.
Okay, want to put the sides on or do you want to put the hinges on?
We can put the sides on quick. I have a nail gun. Oh, I'm out of nails. That's helpful. Alright, now we can do hinges.
Okay.
You gotta figure out where you want those. You're not gonna measure. Okay, got some little scraps laying around here.
Lots of scraps.
Just enough battery to finish.
Perfect. Oh yeah, that's much better. Did you try it already? Perfect.
Alright, so I'm going to start working on getting the coop door put in for the chickens. I picked this run chicken automatic door up off the interweb. I think there's a lot of different options out there. I don't know anything about them. This one just looked good, and it had a solar panel, had good reviews, and I wanted something with a solar panel, help keep the batteries charged in here a little bit. But I wanted an automatic door just in case, like me and Lisa aren't around, we go on a trip or something like that. Chickens can still get outside. So what I did is I opened the door and I just put it up here, and I'm leaving myself a little bit of a ledge on the inside, about 4 or 5 inches, so that when I put sawdust in here or shavings and the chickens come outside, they're not like knocking all the shavings out of the coop all the time. So I just had Lisa trace out the inside the door, so I'm going to get this cut out and then we can screw this thing on, and that's it. Pretty easy installation. There we go. The old chicken chute. How long are these screws? Are they going to stick out on the other side?
Yeah. They are. Correct.
Okay, you got it where you want it?
Yeah.
It says you're supposed to put these screws in by hand so you don't over tighten them. Because if you over tighten them, it'll pinch the rails together where the door slides through, and then the door won't operate correctly. So I'll have to give it a test run here after we do the screws and make sure I don't have it too tight. Just kind of snugging them up. There we go. This thing is Bluetooth, so I can operate the door right off my phone. There's not like a button on it to do it or anything. You gotta do it off your phone. I'll connect to it. Boom. What a unit. I don't care who you are, that's pretty fancy right there. I'll have to play with the settings on this thing, but you're supposed to be able to set it to like an automatic, and then it's got like a light sensor, so it'll be able to tell like when it gets light out, when it gets dark out, and then you can, on this app that comes with it, you can pick like if you want it to open 20 minutes after the sun comes up or 30 minutes after the sun comes up. Same with dark time, so I'll have to play around with it, get it dialed in to where I want it to be. I'm interested to see how it's going to work with the whole light sensor thing, because we are on the side of a mountain, so like right now there's no sun. The sun kind of goes away way before the light does because it tucks over the other side of the hill, but it's still light out, so I wonder if that'll play a factor or if it'll just be able to tell. So we'll see, but it's all installed. I think the next thing we have to do is put some hardware cloth on the inside to cover up the roof so they can't come out these holes. I'm eventually going to block these holes off with some hardware cloth too, so like bees can't make a nest in here or anything like that. But I do want to leave the top open for like ventilation for them. So yeah, next is doing the hardware cloth and probably some latches on the door. Then we can start building the run, and I'm hoping in the next couple days here, like 2-3 days, we're gonna get the chickens out in the coop here. They're about 3 weeks old now, and it's starting to get warm out and stuff, and it stopped freezing at night, so hoping to get them in here soon so they can get out of the brooder. Alright guys, so it's been about 2 weeks since we finished the coop. The chickens are outside full time now. I think yesterday they turned 7 weeks old, so they're doing great. We didn't lose any. We started with 12, we still have 12. The coop is done. We added a couple extra things at the end after the door just to finish it up, and today I'm going to run you through all them little things that we did and show you the run that we threw up. I didn't end up videoing any of the run build, mainly because it was just me pounding T-posts for a while, and then it was a bunch of tying fence, and it really wasn't that interesting. But I will show it to you, show you what we kind of did. So let's get into the coop and see how it turned out. Alright guys, so I guess we'll start off with the run here. The run cost me and Lisa, well, I think the only thing we bought for it was the netting that we put on top of it, and I don't recall me on the price, but I want to say it was maybe 20 bucks a roll, and I might even be being generous there. But all we used was some deer netting that you could pick up from Home Depot or whatever. It was the cheapest stuff. I didn't really need something like super tough. I was just trying to keep the chickens in if they wanted to try and fly out while they were young, or birds like ravens, hawks, whatever. I was just trying to keep them out as best I could. The dogs do a good job keeping them away, but I just wanted something on there for when we're not home or whatever. So regardless, the run cost us absolutely nothing. It was all stuff that we collected throughout the years, or asked people, like we had asked around people we know if they had any old fencing that they wanted to get rid of, and we found a bunch of fencing that nobody wanted anymore, and we had some fencing of our own that we've kept throughout the years from different properties and whatever. So all I did was just pound a bunch of T-posts in a big rectangle type area. We did some fencing around it, and then we put chicken wire up against that fencing. If you look here, you can see there's 2 layers of fencing here. There's like this horse fence or whatever, and then there's chicken wire on the inside of that as well, just to try and help fill up the holes. The chickens, when we did put them out here, they were still small enough that they could fit through the holes of the fence, so we just wanted to put the chicken wire up Helps keep some stuff out, keep some stuff in. And then we just have this like deer netting stuff that we draped over top. It's just like a plastic netting. It's not like super tough or anything like that, but it keeps out enough and keeps in enough. I'm pretty much home most of the time, so I'm here to watch the chickens. The dogs are here to watch the chickens. They really don't get much pressure from anything during the day, and at nighttime they are in the coop, and we will move to the coop next, and I will show you what we did to finish that up. Alright, so last time you seen us install the Run Chicken automatic door. Been loving the thing. It works great. Opens in the morning, closes at night. I actually set the times a little bit different now because of the way the sun sets here on the side of the mountain. It was closing a little bit earlier than I wanted it to, but other than that, I just went on the app. They have an app. You go on there, change the settings, and it's been working great now. I have it set so it closes 20 minutes after what is considered our sunset for our time zone. It goes off like GPS or whatever, so figures out your time zone, and then you can set it to have like a delay. I just set it like a 20-minute. Most of the chickens have been in every time so far, so it's been working great. I added a little walking board there for the chickens to get up and down out of the door. You can see down here kinda on the bottom of the coop, I just closed that off with some hardware cloth, and that's what separates the coop from the run. So what I did is I just took a shovel and I dug a trench from this corner of the coop all the way to that corner of the coop, and then I just stapled up hardware cloth and buried it down in the ground about a foot so that it would stay down in there and nothing could really, I mean, if something wanted to dig through it, it maybe could. It would really have to dig quite far, but it's been working real nice. Pretty strong. So I added steel to the roof here. The steel is just reclaimed. It was laying around somewhere. I was just looking around for people that had steel that they didn't want to use anymore, some steel roofing or whatever, so that was free. It's not like the most beautiful thing in the world. You can see it's got some wrinkles in it and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, this is a chicken coop, not the Taj Mahal, so it's going to do just fine for chickens. Let's go to the nesting boxes. Alright, so right here we have the nesting boxes. Obviously the chickens aren't using them yet because they're not big enough, but eventually they will. So what I did is I built some framing out of there. You've seen that, and then I just coated it in the plywood. I ended up putting some boards on the inside of the roof of here just for some extra stability for the hinges, so I'll show you that, and I'll show you the clips I put on there. This is a clip for just keeping it closed. I just got this screwed. It's just like a little flip latch here, like that. That's what holds it shut so nothing can open it. I got a couple hinges up here, a leftover screw, and then I'll show you the inside of this quick. So you can see this goes right into the coop in here. I got pine shavings in here. I got these, eventually if I want to, I can put dividers in here and make these smaller. I just left it all open for now. It's because the chickens are too small to lay eggs right now anyway, so this is just extra real estate for them to be able to run around in here. You can see I just added some wood blocks on the other side here for the screws, longer screws to be able to go in so it's stronger. I added some wood here for the hinges for longer screws to be able to go in, just so it's a little tougher, like a bear can't come in here in the nighttime and try and, you know, rip this thing off of here. And I just did the same thing on the other side. I have these lids separated so you can open. It still looks normal, but you can open one side or the other, just so that you don't have to open this whole entire thing at one time and worry about chickens flying out of there or whatever. Alright, here's the inside of the coop. I've still been keeping water for them in here, just so they got a little extra water if they get thirsty at night or whatever. They probably don't, they're probably sleeping anyways, but it's pretty spacious in here. I got probably 4-ish inches, maybe, yeah, probably 4 inches of shavings in here right now, and I'm gonna be doing the deep litter method. So I think what I'm gonna do for this first like 4 inches, I'll just come in here and kind of work this up, work the poop down to the bottom every once in a while for a while until it gets kind of saturated with poop, and then I'll end up adding more shavings in here so that that composting can start taking place or whatever, however that works. Me and Lisa are obviously very new to chickens. These are our first chickens we've ever had, but we've done some research and some reading, so we're trying all the things and whatever. But yeah, you can see it's pretty open in here. A lot of room for them to run around if they want to hang out in here. Sometimes they do come in during the day, I've noticed, to take a nap or whatever. I just got some trees out of the woods, some smaller trees and I cut them down and I made roost bars out of those. They're pretty sturdy. I got them screwed in. The chickens love hanging up there already. So yeah, they've been loving it in here. I wanted it to have good ventilation, so I left the roof kind of open up there. But I do have I went through and I put 2 rows of hardware cloth up to close the entire roof off. So the whole roof is closed off by hardware cloth. Nothing can get in or out of here, and there's still good ventilation. I do eventually want to put some hardware cloth up on the outside of here along these openings, just so that hornets, bees, whatever, they can't get in there and make a nest in there or something like that, but it'll all come in time. So yeah, that's the inside of the coop. It's pretty spacious. The chickens love it. I think that pretty user friendly. I have this side up high enough where you can get a wheelbarrow up over here for when you want to clean it out. This piece of wood right here is loose. It's just holding all the shavings in. So when you do want to clean it out, you just pull it out. And then it's a flat floor. You can just shovel all the shavings right out, put new ones in, what have you. Alright guys, well that's pretty much it for the coop. I'm going to run you through all the different chickens we got, the breeds, the couple names we have for them so far, and how many. So let's go to the chickens. Alright guys, so this I believe is Brownie. She's an Americana. We'll jump over to this one. This one is Patches O'Houlihan. She's also an Americana. She's a very feisty one. Lisa can never catch her and hold her. She just wants to run all the time. She's crazy. As you can see. This is Runt. We call her Runt. And we don't really know if she's a she or a he yet because it's the chicken with the most red on its head. So you'd almost think it's a rooster, but we don't really know because we're new to chickens. In the beginning, this was the smallest chicken we had out of all of them. It was smaller than everyone. And that's why we called it Runt. And now, after it's grown up, it's just about the same size as everybody else. Leave something in the comments if you think this is a rooster. This is a sapphire gem, by the way. Here we have Stripe, also an Americana. Called her Stripes because when she was little, she had 2 little white stripes going right down her back. She might still have them, but I think she hides them under her wings. And we have this other sapphire gem. I think we called this one dark gray. We were calling them big gray and little gray because there's 2 that look the same, but it's hard to distinguish now in size, so we went to dark and light because one's a little darker than the other one. This is light gray, another sapphire gem. We have 6 buff Orpingtons, and they all look just like this one. We don't really have names for those ones because they all look the same, so we don't know what to call them or how to distinguish between who is who. So they pretty much just all be getting called Yellow or Yeller or Old Yeller or something along those lines. Alright guys, well that's going to be it for the chicken video. I really appreciate you guys watching the videos. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I put new videos out. And we will catch you on the next one.